Hey Miguel, welcome to my channel. Who are you and what do you do for work?
Hi, my name is Miguel, and I do concrete work for my business.
How old were you when you started your business? You were pretty young, right?
Yeah, I was actually 18 years old. I'm now 23 years old,
Oh my
and yeah,
God. I didn't realize you were even that young, honestly. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, very young. So I think it's all been amazing, really, just
That's
learning process.
okay. And how did you hear about my company or services?
I actually didn't hear of you guys. I think you contacted me back in 2020 or 2021.
I did. I think I cold called you and just gave you a couple sample free leads.
Yeah, I think that's how it worked.
And then what were you struggling with before you started working with me?
I was struggling with getting consistent work. And then after working with you, it's been like life changer really.
So what was your business like beforehand?
I do maybe about 5 jobs a month, and they probably weren't the best quality jobs either. And yeah, after we started working together, we started getting higher quality leads and bigger jobs.
Okay, awesome. That's amazing. I love hearing that. Um, do you feel like you had to chase a lot of bad leads after you started working with me, or you felt like you were going to qualified appointments?
I feel like every appointment that was actually booked was a really good lead for the most part. If they were bad leads, tire kickers, they were just yeah, we didn't book those appointments.
And then how did you decide to start working with me?
I decided to start working with you after we did the trial. I think it was a trial 2 weeks, and I think you just showed me the quality leads that you could provide us, and I think it worked out that way.
And then what has your business results been like since joining? I know you mentioned, taking on bigger jobs, but how has your lead flow changed or your customer acquisition changed or marketing strategies?
Yeah. So before you, we didn't really have a marketing strategy, and bringing you guys along, you kind of just walked us through how you brought in your leads through Google and other sources like Facebook now. Um, yeah, so I think that's really it.
Okay, cool. How much to date have you made just from working with me alone from your, new business that you brought in?
I think over $1 million now
Yeah, I
in the
looked at the
last 4
numbers.
years.
It is, which is pretty awesome. So I feel like, these are my words, not yours, but your business would have been very different without that extra revenue.
Yeah, it definitely helped.
What is one piece of advice that you have for other clients to get the most out of my services?
I would really recommend to just be on top of the leads. So as soon as they come in, don't take too long to get back to them. Because if they're hot leads, they're trying to get their work done quickly. And I've had these times where I don't answer the phone or I don't get back to the customer right away, and then maybe it's been 10, 20 minutes and they already have the job booked with another contractor. That was just more on top of it. So I just recommend being on top of everything and being quick with the estimates and trying to get the estimates to the customer as soon as possible. I like to do it when I'm at the job site. Some contractors like to wait a few days or go back to the office and do numbers, and that's okay for some projects if they're really big projects. But for the most part, if you could try to get the estimate to them right away, I think you really increase your sales by 70% chance. If you do it there in person, you kind of get to read the customer and probably even negotiate sometimes.
That's awesome. That's actually like really good advice. It's something I try to tell people all the time. And, some listen and some don't. But I think if you can increase your close rate by 70% just by doing like a simple thing instead of waiting and having them wait, because a lot of times people are, they don't know that you're working on it, or maybe you aren't working on it, because I've personally worked with companies before where they've just never sent me an estimate. They come out, they do, measurements or whatever they need to do, and then they just never send me the estimate. And sometimes I'm like, I'm not even following up with them because they obviously don't care.
Yeah, yeah, that's no good.
I think confidence is like, it's such a big part of it too, because I've talked to some of my clients just about like sales, and I'm like, how do you feel when you go out there and you give them an estimate, or like, they're like, I don't know, like sometimes I don't follow up with them because I'm just not confident in my like approach. And I'm like, well, there's the problem. They can sense that, or they can see that you don't feel confident, and that's bad.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I get out of my vehicle and I approach the home, I usually give them a call or a text before I get out the vehicle just to let them know that I'm outside for the estimate. And I always try to be really energetic and just really like excited to meet them. Even if I'm not having the best day, I still put up that front just because I feel like you have to give out a really good energy to receive good energy back from the customers. And they could tell when you're being, you also don't want to be fake, but just be yourself and try to be as confident as possible. And just, when you're giving out the numbers for the estimate, just be confident, don't stutter, or just look really confident when you're talking to them, and kind of just, I try to sell them the outcome of the work, not so much the actual number. And you
Yeah.
could tell based on the customer. Sometimes if they're a little bit older, you don't want to be like the elderly. You don't want to be too pushy when you're doing sales, because then like I feel like they feel like you're trying to rob them if you're too pushy. So you just have to read the customers. But yeah, I feel like confidence is very key when you're talking to them.
You command very high prices, because I can see in everyone's account like what they're charging for certain projects. And your prices are
Yeah,
definitely the highest out of all of them, but you also have one of the highest close rates. So it really speaks to the fact that your confidence is exuding in the price that you're giving, and you're not just kind of, having a race to the bottom against some of these other competitors that might be throwing out super low numbers, but they're still going with you.
yeah. I mean, it's tough sometimes when you have competitors that are really low, because I do lose some jobs that way. But I'm in the business of making money, and I notice I can't compete with the very very low estimates. That's okay. That just means they're not my customers. My team provides a lot of value, and so that's why our prices are priced out where they're at.
That makes a lot of sense. And I wish every one of my clients can see this and hear that, and, realize that you don't have to also take on every single job that comes your way. If you have enough of a lead flow and you're pretty selective in who you choose, like the people that are really low ballers, like they're going to be a headache anyway. At least, that's my
Yeah,
experience too.
yeah, definitely. So if you're going to deal with some customers that you already know are going to be tough, at least make it worth it.
Right. That adds to your bottom line and more revenue. What would you say to someone considering working with us?
I would say just to give you a chance, an opportunity to show that the value that you guys would bring. I would say it's not it's not something that's going to happen from today to tomorrow. It definitely takes time, and so if they could give you the opportunity for at least 1 to 3 months to show, so that way you could provide your value, and they could see that it's worth the money that they're going to be that they're going to be paying. I think that'd be great.
That's excellent advice, because I feel like sometimes people think it's just going to be like overnight, all of a sudden, your whole sales process is going to change. You're going to be closing more jobs. You're going to be taking in, like thousands more dollars. And sometimes the first couple months, like you're not really used to the change. It's a big change in your, especially when you have no leads or not a lot of leads coming in, or you're fumbling a lot of these jobs, to go from that to, closing 70% more. That takes like a mental shift, and you have to like teach your team how to approach it differently, or just kind of like yourself. Hey, how are we handling our business differently now? We can't just do things the same way. So I
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
That's good advice. All right. that is it for me. Do you have anything to add onto that? That was all the questions I had.
No, honestly, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm hoping to keep working with you guys for many more years to come, as long as you guys keep providing value, and so do we. Yeah, it's been awesome working with you, honestly, and I just want to thank you. It's been great.
Thank you. It's been great working with you as well and to see your business grow. And I think what made you like a really good student too was the fact that you were just willing to learn. Like being 18, I think that the benefit was that you were just kind of a sponge. And, and sometimes even things I said to you, I'm like, I don't know if this will work, but we'll just try it anyway. And a lot of
Yeah.
times you just implemented it and ran with it. And that was, I think that really made a difference. So people that are really stubborn and don't want to change, then sometimes they don't do as well.
Yeah, you definitely you got to get out of your comfort zone to sometimes grow, and that's really big. So
Right. That's amazing. All right. Well, thank you for doing this today. And yeah, definitely continue to work with you for years to come and grow your business even more.
yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a
Bye,
good day.
Miguel.
Bye.